This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Another day, another week, another harvest for some. Together once again. Hi, everybody. Welcome to your #1 source for Georgia agriculture. This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. Lots to get to today. Straight ahead on the program, the genetic improvements on wheat. See how these researchers at the UGA Griffin campus are helping farmers produce better yields.
Also on the program, time to ring in apple season with great recipes from Marcia Crowley. This month on Meals from the Field, how Georgia-grown apples can liven up that pork tenderloin.
And then later, we'll introduce you to a Georgia family whose efforts are not only limited to the farm, but also in the community in which they live. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Georgia producers who grow wheat during the winter months face many challenges, but researchers work every day to fight many of the problems that can hurt yield and profits on Georgia farms. Well, recently, the Monitor's Mark Wildman visited UGA's Griffin campus to get a look at how wheat breeders are helping producers by improving wheat genetics.
Georgia farmers enjoy a good harvest, and when the winter wheat is ready in the spring, farmers look forward to the high yields and good profit margins. But to get a good crop in the field, a lot of work needs to be done on research. Here in Griffin at UGA's campus for nearly 40 years, Dr. Jerry Johnson has led the wheat breeding efforts, and the research being conducted is aimed at helping the Georgia farmer grow better wheat, and so the consumers can enjoy all the great products that are made from wheat.
Well, the goal is obviously is to improve yield and improve test weight. Yield is what a farmer, he gets paid by the bushels per acre that he produces, and that's the profit margin. Also, we look at test weight. That's a quality measurement that at the elevator they can take dockage if it's a lower test weight, lower than 58. So we've with the wheat team always try to concentrate on yield first, test weight second.
UGA's wheat breeding efforts are going through a transition because Dr. Johnson is retiring and is turning the program over to Mohammed Mergoam.
I think I am lucky to follow up Jerry's. It's a large shoe to fill, but I think with his help, and I'm overlapping with him almost now more than a year, and I'm learning from his wisdom, and I think we will keep this program successful I was before, and I'm very excited to be in Georgia.
Wheat breeders jokingly say their job is to try and pick the bad family members out of the wheat's family tree. But it takes countless hours to make sure Georgia farmers get the best varieties for an area that has some tough growing conditions.
One of the major problems that in wheat, for instance, that keep wheat not grown on large scale. Actually, wheat is going down acreage. If you go a few years ago, it was more than 500,000 acres, and now we are almost less than 250,000 acres. And that's because of many constraints, including one disease called scab. And the last 4 years, that disease was a major problem, which caused yield going down as well as the quality. And our goal is to develop not only variety with high yield as it was in the past, but resistant to major disease, including the scab.
So as farmers plant their wheat crops, they can take comfort in knowing there are many individuals spending a lot of time in the lab and in many other locations trying to make sure Georgia's wheat crop is the best it can be.
The other thing that really, the end product is to have the millers in the state, the flour mills, purchase wheat from the farmers in the state, and we've worked on quality, milling and baking quality, where they will think Georgia lines are the best, and we'll buy those from the elevators, and so it helps improve the quality of acreage of the state of Georgia, and also the quality of product that coming out of the state of Georgia.
Reporting from Griffin, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Meantime, more than 200 people met recently for the 30th annual Georgia Peanut Tour, and the overall tone was the same. That is, the fact that it has been a challenging 2016 growing season. A big part of the annual tour in South Georgia helps explain to people that use the peanut products what it takes to get the nut from the fields to the grocery stores.
This is the 30th annual peanut tour that we have. Each year have an annual peanut tour, and we're excited they're coming here to our farm. Our farm is situated in lower Irwin County. We're right on the line, 158 highway. Just south of us here is Barron County on that side of the highway. So that's the situation where we're at geographically.
Morris told us there have been better years for peanuts based on a number of factors.
We had an extremely dry period in late June, July, and the first week of August. We got about 8/10 of rain. We had to irrigate this crop to have a crop, and our crop is a little bit off. We're going to be under the projected yield probably when it's all said and done. And on our farming operation, USDA come out with that 4,600 pound. I hope that Georgia does that. I want you to know that. We want to fill the markets. We want to be sure we got plenty of peanuts. So it's important that we have a good peanut crop.
One pathology specialist told the tour group that because of weather and larger than usual acreages of peanuts, there have been more challenges, ranging from dry conditions, shorter field rotations, and disease.
If we plant peanuts in the field once every 3 years or so, the importance of this disease goes down. If we plant peanuts in every other year, or certainly every year, it's waiting for them. When we plant the peanuts, the bad guy, the animal, is waiting to get them, okay? It's a fungus.
We plowed these peanuts up about a week ago now, and we're going to be plowing up peanuts today. We're going to be picking peanuts today. So we're going to be trying to show them all the aspects of the farming of peanuts harvest, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the other things if we want to. We have had a challenge this year with white mold. We got white mold on most of the peanuts that we've dug so far, so it's going to be a little bit of a problem for us. We're going to lose some yield because of that. We're going to be off from last year's yield probably, I think we'll be off 400 pounds. I'll say 200 to 300 pounds anyway, but I think we had 4,300 pound last year average. I think we've got a lot of hot spots in Georgia that's got very low yield and didn't have any rain. If I hadn't had irrigation here, we'd be probably looking at ton to acre peanuts. So we have, the irrigation helped us a great deal.
Each year, the tour gives consumers and users of peanuts a better understanding of the process and snags along the way.
Good job, Kenny. Thank you so much. Well, as the old adage goes, an apple a day helps keep the doctor away. But when we come back, we've got some apple recipes that'll make doctors come running from miles and miles. Meals from the field when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues. Stay with us.
My name is Larry Walker III. I'm a newly elected Georgia State Senator. I represent District 20, which is all of Lawrence, Pulaski, and Bleckley counties and most of Houston County. I'm an independent insurance agent here in Perry. I started my agency, Walker Insurance, a little over 20 years ago from scratch, and so that's my primary job. You know, the Georgia legislature is a part-time job, supposedly, although I found it to be a lot more of a full-time job than most would think. Very proud to be on the Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee. Our chairman, John Wilkinson, could not be a finer person and a better chairman, and he knows agriculture, has a career in ag education. I'm enjoying serving with him. I'm also on the Insurance and Labor Committee, which naturally that fits in with my full-time career. But my grandfather, Cohen Walker, had a farm equipment dealership here in Perry, and I worked there at a young age and worked there summers. Then after finishing at University of Georgia and a brief career at the Coca-Cola Company, I returned to the ag equipment business and opened a dealership in Dublin, Georgia, and ran it for a number of years. I would not have run for the Senate seat had it not been for the support and encouragement of my wife, Adrian, and I probably would not, I about know I would not have won had it not been for her skilled campaigning. She worked very hard door to door and on the phone and letters, etc. Georgia is the #1 state in which to do business based on a number of surveys, and we want it to continue to be that way, and also continue to be that way for agriculture businesses too. So we want to make the EPD as efficient as we can, and not as, less burdensome if we can as far as paperwork, etc.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Georgia Farm Monitor and to another edition of Meals from the Field. As you can see today, we are celebrating apple season, and before we get started, I do want to thank our friends from the GFE Certified Farm Markets in Ellijay and Blue Ridge. Apples, of course, coming from there. We have fried pies from Mercier Orchards, and of course, you can get all kinds of pies up there, fritters, and the main ingredient, which is today, apples. Hey everybody, as mentioned, welcome back. Joining me as always, my good friend and partner in crime, Marcia Crowley. So good to see you again.
Good to see you, Ray.
And they say change is good, so we're changing into another season.
That's
right.
right.
And we are in apple season. Last month, if you joined us, we did tailgating, but today we are doing apples and all kinds of great recipes, starting with the pork loin.
Pork
Tell us what we got
tenderloin.
here. Pork
I
tenderloin.
love pork tenderloin. It's one of my favorite cuts of meat. You can do just about anything to it. And we've been browning this on all sides in a little bit of olive oil. We're just going to put that in a baking
For the purpose
dish.
of TV, we'll act like it's already cooked. So.
Right. Well, you're going to put it in the oven, so actually it is. Where are my apples? All right, we're going to add to that 2 cups of chopped Georgia apples, and they need to be a cooking apple.
Okay.
Like Granny Smith or Gala. We've got 1/2 cup of coarsely chopped onion. We're just going to saute that. Kind of, if there's any brown bits on the bottom from the pork, we're going to loosen that up. We're going to add to that 1/2 cup of wine.
Okay.
And you can figure out what to do with the rest of the bottle if you want.
I'll give it to friends and family.
Give it to friends and family. All right. Now, while that's sauteing just a little bit, we are going to spread. This is 1/2 cup of apple jelly and 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. We're going to mix that up together. And we're going to spread it the best you can over this warm pork.
All right.
And like I said, pork and apples they go together naturally. I mean, and sweet potatoes and all that good stuff all go together. And Georgia apples are so versatile. I mean, and I personally think Georgia apples are better because they're fresher.
They're from Georgia.
And they're from Georgia. All right, let me turn this off so we don't.
Everything is better in Georgia.
So we don't start a house fire here like we did before we started. See, what y'all don't see won't hurt you, right?
Exactly.
All right, we're going to put this mixture, pour this over this pork tenderloin, the apples, the onion.
I could smell that wine too.
The
That smells
wine. And if you don't want to cook with wine or whatever, you could use apple juice or just water.
good. Okay.
Very versatile. All right, at this point, you're going to put this in the oven and you're going to bake it at 325 for 30 minutes.
All right.
And there you have that. And let's put
Here's
that
the finished product over here.
over here so we don't set it on fire.
Good stuff there.
It's really good. I'm telling you, it's just sweet enough, just tart enough with the vinegar in there.
All right, what's next?
The next thing is a pecan apple cobbler. So this is 2.5 cups of sliced Georgia apples, once again cooking apples. We're going to spread on top of that sugar, cinnamon, and Georgia pecans. Like 1/2 cup of pecans, I think it's 1/2 cup of sugar and some cinnamon. And there again, if you don't like cinnamon, some people don't, you could substitute nutmeg or leave it out altogether.
Right.
Okay, the topping is 1/3 cup of butter. We're going to beat an egg to go in there. Remove that so we don't accidentally put the vinegar in there. A cup of milk. And this recipe is so good because it's good for dessert, it's not too sweet, and it's good for breakfast.
Nice.
All right, you're going to add that to a cup of flour. So this is the milk and the egg. You're adding it to the flour. Mixing that up. And you're just going to pour this over the top. There's 1/2 cup of sugar in the flour too. But of course, all the recipes are on your website if we mess up. All right, you're going to pour this, and it's going to be lumpy. going to pour this over the apple pecan mixture. And you can make this obviously ahead, serve it warm, cold. I mean, and apples and pecans go great together too, I think.
Of course, my daughter would probably just eat it raw like that.
Eat it raw. Well, tell her not to do that. It's got an egg in it.
Oh, okay.
A raw egg. All right, then you're going to sprinkle a half a cup of Georgia pecans over the top of that, and you're going to bake it at 325 for about 50 minutes till it's done. That's slaw.
And then we got the finished product over here.
And I'm telling you, it's really good. It's not too sweet. It's really good for breakfast if you needed something special for breakfast.
And real quick, you said you had mentioned slaw over here?
Yes, we have, you take a package of angel hair cabbage, and it's got 2 cups of Georgia apples chopped and 2 cups of pecans, mayonnaise, and honey. And it's really good, really fresh. It's good.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, the apple pies I did not make.
But they are delicious. And of course, with Martha, here we go again. My wife's name is Martha, so
That's
occasionally I call her Marcia, and we kind of get confused there occasionally. But anyway, as Marcia mentioned, you can find all these recipes by going on to gfb.org/recipe. Everything is there for you in detail. Even my wife, Martha, can actually make these recipes. So, Marcia,
I'm sure she can.
So good to see you again. Thank you so
Ray.
much. And we will see you guys next month.
Ray, Marcia, great job as always. Hey, next week, our apple theme continues as Ray travels to Blue Ridge and spends the day at Mercier Orchards. A lot of things on the horizon for Mercier, and Ray will tell you all about it. Again, that's next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor. When we come back, Damon Jones takes us to Tifton, Georgia, and shows us how farming and family has earned this Georgia native special recognition. Stay tuned.
So I did just under 5 years with the 1st Ranger Battalion. I had 4 combat deployments, 3 to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan. And my last deployment to Afghanistan, I was wounded by the Taliban in a near ambush. Word of mouth in the community, I had heard that I need to go up and talk to the USDA, and I need to talk to the Farm Service Agency. And so that led me to Mr. Rubin here at the Farm Service Agency, and he told me, he's like, hey, there are programs that we offer that you need to be signing up for. I had no idea what he was talking about. I had no idea that any of these programs even existed before I walked in there. So first thing you would want to do, transitioning from the military as a veteran like myself, you need to call your Farm Service Agency. You need to set up an appointment. And once you're in that office and once you sit down, they walk you through and they'll tell you not only what you're eligible for, but how to go about it. You know, what paperwork do you need to file? And they won't just tell you, hey, form 214. They'll say, hey, here's the form right here. I'll print it out. We'll go over it together.
He came in and I mean, it was all new. It was all, and we sat there a good hour and a half talking about all this. And he nowadays will be able to help him out as far as he's learned a lot as far as being on the farm loan part of it, what we can do for him. And then we talked about farm loan where he's able to qualify for low financial loans, which to help his operation grow as far as what he's wanting to do in the next 10 years.
I'd hardly even seen a cow before. I invested in them, and it's kind of been a learning experience since day one. But conveniently, this community out here has really supported me. There's a lot of older cattlemen who've been doing it for years who've really taken me under their wing and really helped me out. And I can call them, like Mr. K, I can call him twice a day, every day with every idea that I come up with or any questions I have, regarding just simple stuff like how to dehorn and vaccinate calves to how to market genetics worldwide.
10 years ago when you said Wagyu, they said, wow, what? What is that? So now people, when you say I raise Wagyu cattle, they say, oh, I had one of those steaks. It was fantastic. So it does my heart good to see these young guys get in there and get started.
The biggest thing I think Ranger Cattle has done for me personally, transitioning from the military, was it gave me a means of transition. It gave me something I can put my name behind, a product. I used to wear a uniform that bared my name on it. I took great pride in wearing that uniform. Well, now my name is Ranger Cattle, and we take great pride in producing that product. So Ranger Cattle has become a means to continue to serve our community even after the military. And so I'd like to serve the nation and not just Austin.
Finally today, with an emphasis placed on farm safety, environmental awareness, and community service, the Georgia Young Farmer Association hands out their Farm Family of the Year award to deserving candidates across the state.
The Monitor's Damon Jones takes a look at one of this year's finalists, the Grimes family from Tifton.
It takes a village, or at least a family, to run a successful farming operation, and that's the case here at Docia Farms in Tifton, where farming is a way of life for Andrew Grimes and his family. And for their good work, they were recently named one of the 4 finalists for the Outstanding Young Farm Family Award.
This family, I thought it was important to nominate them. Number one, watched Andrew come up from time he was in middle school, working with his dad, to going out on his own, him and his brother-in-law working on the farm, and he's really stepped out and done a lot. He does a lot in the community, him and his wife.
Being involved in the community is a priority for the Grimes, as Andrew serves on the board of directors for the Tift County Farm Bureau.
Being in the community, I think helps out, because it sort of lets you know what your county, city might need. It also helps you if you need help, on the farm doing something. You can go to, Farm Bureau or the young farmers and say, hey, look, I need some help getting this done, and they can help you out.
Now, as much good work as they do away from the farm, it's what they do in the fields that really sets them apart. And while getting the best yields is a priority, being good stewards of the land is just as important.
We do a lot of conservation stuff as far as planting pine trees in the corners, hardwood areas, building ponds and where we can. Running 4 GPS systems, 2 in a sprayer and 2 in a tractor.
While not always in the fields, Lauren is just as integral to the operation, as she makes sure all the produce is safe for the consumers.
On the farm, I'm the food safety coordinator. I handle all of our cantaloupe operation as far as microbiological testings, water samples, and making sure that everything's run smoothly during the summer at the cantaloupe farm.
It's that type of teamwork from the entire family that keeps this operation going strong. It's a unique experience that neither one of them takes lightly.
Andrew's really passionate about his farming, and I just enjoy working with him every day and at the farm with the rest of the family. And I feel like that it's something that our kids see us doing together, as we saw his parents do together. And it just means a lot to me to have my kids and be there with Andrew every day.
Having my dad to look up to and ask him, advice on certain things, to my brother-in-law helping out, working together, doing stuff. My wife, my sister both work at the farm in the office. My kids are up there every chance they get, trying to learn what I do and hopefully follow in my footsteps.
Reporting from Tifton, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Damon, thank you so much. Great job as always. That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Now, a reminder, for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and here on the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Hope you have a great week.